Okay, so one of you has the TV on or something behind you. If you wouldn't mind just muting yourself, that would be great. Sounds like sounds like you're listening to the web. Um, whoever's got the background noise, sorry, would you just mind muting yourself? That's better. Good. Okay, great. Thank you very much. Um, so today's lesson three of three, which is exciting. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna have a look how you all interpreted the theme, which was a difficult one. It was intentionally vague. I wanted to make you think. So don't worry if you found it difficult. Don't worry if you weren't really sure what I was talking about, uh, which I know some of you emailed me and would like, if we really don't get this, we're not sure what's going on. Um, the main, and you'll see this as we push through, but I didn't want to tell you this when I set the assignment because I wanted you to think. But a big part of this whole details, big and small, was to get you thinking about how photography, and I mentioned this in our class number one, is the only art form that is the inverse thought process to alternative art forms. I.e., if I'm a painter and I'm painting, I could just Cass is in front of me, and I'm painting Cass in her home, I'm adding paint to my canvas and I'm deciding what's going to go on my canvas. If I'm a sculptor and I'm sculpting Julie's kitchen, then I'm adding clay or adding metal or whatever my substrate is to add materials to create my piece. Photography is the only art form that is the opposite. Photography, rather than being an exercise, and this is going to be getting a bit art school on you guys, but it's necessary because it's a powerful mind shift. It's the only art form that's rather than an exercise of addition, it's an exercise of exclusion. It's to do with we live in a really chaotic world, but also a really beautiful world. Like you go out and there's an amazing landscape, an amazing garden, an amazing tree, a beautiful flower, birds flying in the sky. Sometimes, and a lot of the time, when you try to show everything, you actually show nothing. You lack a focal point in your image. Really good photography is about distilling the complexity of the world around us. It's before you take that picture, I always say to people, just before you press the button, ask yourself the question, does everything in this photo, in this picture, A, is it necessary? And B, is it serving a purpose? Is it a leading line taking our eye to the dog? Is it the stem of a flower moving the balance of the photo in one direction or another? Is it creating symmetry? Is it acting as a frame? There's tons of different things that elements in our photo do. But by far and away, the biggest thing that I see wrong with people's photos, especially with a beginner's group, is the want to show everything. They try to get in everything. There's a really good phrase, write it down, that says, show less, tell more. Because often, A, when we just get rid of the clutter, it could even be like a palm tree growing out of my head, which just doesn't look good. But often, when we show less, which was a big thing I was trying to encourage you through this vague theme of details, is you make the person looking at your photo. And we're going to see some good examples of this. Like some of you did this really well. In fact, a lot of you kind of got the theme, I think, better than you thought you did. But someone can look at our photos and ask questions. It's not, let's just say I was photographing the tire of the wheel of your car. If I just photograph the entire tire and show the car, that's an okay story, but that's more like the picture that I'm going to send to the mechanic to show them I've got a flat tire and can they please fix it? The minute you go in, hold on, Cass, one sec. The minute you go in closer on that tire, or you start to tilt your camera or change, you hear me talk about perspective, you're going to create, and I'm using a tire, I could be talking about anything here. You're going to create something that may not be immediately apparent to the person looking at your photo what it is. And that's one way of many, but it's one relatively easy way to help your photos stand out. So just to kind of surmise that, by taking things out of our photograph rather than choosing what to include, usually by getting rid of the clutter, we A, help the photo have an identifiable focal point. Remember, focal point just means the main subject in your photo. And B, we usually tell a stronger story. That's the whole show less, tell more. Because people look at our photo and they can look at it again and look at it again. And that generally is going to improve the strength of the image. Cass, you had a question.
So do you have a practice, Adam, that you do? I mean, I know take this picture and take things out and whatnot, but do you actually take a picture and then look at it and go, okay, this is where I need to really focus? Or I would love to know what your routine is.
Yeah, it's a great question. And to be honest, most of what I do is totally subconscious because I take so many pictures, like and have been doing for a long time. But a good way to start is, as I say, one thing is as I'm taking the picture, is I will usually check the edges of my frame
Mhm.
and ask myself the question, is there anything poking in here? Is there anything not? Because often if you have like, even it can be like a little bright spot of light in the
Mhm.
corner that you don't realize is there. But then when you take the picture, and I've taken a picture of a flower, the eye goes to the bright spot of light and it doesn't go to the flower. So usually step number one, Cass, would be to scan the edges of my frame. Step number two is to ask myself the question, am I in the most advantageous position to take this photo? Do I need to change my perspective? Do I need to zoom with my feet? Do I need to move? And a lot of that often comes down to lighting. Is the lighting coming from the best part? Do I need to swivel around and move 20 degrees around the clock? I use that clock analogy. Remember where I said ideally we want the light coming from behind us, not in front of us. And then also thinking about when am I taking this from the best possible place is just thinking about the subject that I'm taking a picture of. Do I, like if I'm taking a picture of my kids, I know that I want to get down to they're toddlers. I want to get down to their level. If I take a picture from my 5'11" angle, they're going to look kind of small and insignificant. Same point, but the other way, if I'm taking a picture of a beautiful bloom of daisies and I want to make them look really big, if I'm just photographing from my level, it's going to kind of just like I'm look like I'm documenting them. And my job is to make you all, and this happens with time and practice. Like I don't expect this to happen in 3 sessions. Like it's practice, perseverance, patience, perspective, my 4 Ps to make you all better photographers. But the more you practice, the more you will start to appreciate, oh, I'm in this garden and I see a vanishing point. Ah, I know to make this vanishing point look more prominent, I'm going to go lower. Just an example. You're walking through downtown New York because you've gone on a vacation to Manhattan, and suddenly you remember, oh, what happens if I look up? And I see all the skyscrapers converging into a really interesting pattern and shape. So, kind of to answer Cass's point, it's not, I don't like to be really prescriptive with photography. It's not a science, it's not a math, it's an art form. But there are some questions that you should be asking yourself before you take pictures. I always tell people just to slow down. That's a big one because everyone's just like, move on to the next thing, move on to the next thing. If you just take a breath,
That's a big problem.
yeah, that ties into my patience aspect. And that's hard for
Four
everyone.
P's. The 4 P's, right.
The 4 Ps,
Mhm.
practice, perseverance, patience, and perspective. And just even sometimes just taking a breath, that kind of settles you and think, okay, now I'm in the mindset of I'm going to take this photograph. I'm going to try not to take 50 photographs of the same thing and hope two come out good. Ideally, I'd like everyone in this group to get to a point where you're taking 10 shots and 8, 9, 10 of them are usable. I got to up your success rate. We don't want to make you, photographers sometimes call it spray and pray, which is just like, I'm going to take 300 photos and it's fine because it's digital, but then you've got to slog through them all and figure out which is the good one and potentially do lots of work on it. And we're not even going to talk about editing in this 3 part, we just don't have time. But again, to come to Cass's point in how do I work, I want to get things as right as I can out the camera. I don't want to trust on, oh, well, I'll just crop it afterwards. Oh, well, I'll just brighten it up afterwards. Hold on, Cass, one sec.
Yeah.
Because often when we edit a photo, depending on what you do, this is a generalistic statement. When you edit a photo, you often degrade it. You lose quality.
Hmm.
Especially like if you take a photo like this, and you, in fact, I'm going to share my screen and draw some diagrams to help you guys understand this. Let me just jump here for a sec. So if you take a photo, and hopefully you can all see my screen here. You take a photo, and I'm taking my photo, and this is, you've all got iPhones, and they're all very sophisticated. So let's just say you had 30 megapixels to play with. Megapixels just means a photo is made up of these tiny little squares or circles called pixels that all come together to create your overall image. The more of those you have, generally, the more crisp, the more light, like the sharper your photos. Cameras market themselves on having more megapixels.
So
The truth is, most people don't need more than 10, unless you can start blowing up a billboard and putting it in Union Square in San Francisco. It's just not necessary. But if I took a picture of, let's just say there's a flower in the middle of my 30 megapixel frame. So here's my 30 megapixels, and here's a flower in the middle. And I end up saying, oh, actually, I took this picture, but I think this picture would look much better if I was just cropped in on the flower like that. And you did that afterwards, which you can all do. But if I'm only taking about 10% of the frame there, I'm degrading the quality from 30 megapixels to 3 megapixels. And then I can't enter it in a GCA contest. I can't even really print it out as a 4 by 6. I can't put it on a mug. I can't make it into a book. Anything that you'd eventually want to do with your photos. Whereas I could have solved this whole issue by just moving 4 steps forward. Cass, you had a question.
Adam, the first time it's ever come up, I was transferring some pictures from my iPhone to an album, and
Yeah.
it would only be held for 30 days. And I've never seen that before on iCloud.
That was through Apple. That may be something to do with your storage. Maybe you may want to
Okay.
check your storage, maybe running once you get to
I
like
just want to make sure it wasn't a new,
no,
new-
that's actually quite a common message that comes
okay,
up, Cass, when
perfect,
people are running out of space. Because
perfect.
Apple says, well, the easiest way to do it is you put them in, and then after 30 days, we'll just delete them to keep a little bit of space free for you. So
Okay,
you
delete
can
them.
check that, and I can tell you offline how to do that. There's the main notion though that I kind of want to drive home to everyone is that when you take your pictures, really try to focus on what's important. Take out the clutter. And you know, like GCA, this is a GCA workshop, so I should really talk about GCA a little bit. GCA push you towards this. If any of you ever enter in their contest, you'll see that one of the themes that come up again and again and again is something called intimate landscapes. And that intimate landscapes theme is designed to make you think about, oh my God, I'm standing at the Grand Canyon. Oh my God, I'm at the beach in Carmel, and there's all this amazing stuff that I could take photos of. But actually, I just want to pick out a small little vignette of it, a small little scene to help tell a stronger story. And I'll give you the definition. GCA define intimate landscapes as you're not able to see the horizon of the photo.
Mm.
So that pushes you to say, oh my God, well, I'm on the beach and there's some interesting shells and a footprint, and I'm just going to focus on that. Or maybe I look up and there's a really interesting cypress tree that's creating some interesting lines. Maybe I just show that. Or maybe there's a pelican sitting on a rock, and I don't need to show the whole beach, the pelican, the rock, the sky, the horizon, everything behind it. I want to hone in just on the pelican. And you all know how to do that. I've taught you how to zoom your iPhones. Remember, we're going to get away from pinch, 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 and to use that wheel to zoom. Especially those of you who are, if you're upgrading your phone anytime soon, the iPhone 17 now has the even 16s and 15s and 14s. You can take great pictures of all of them, but they're just every year they're getting better and better and better. The ability to be able to zoom closer to things without losing quality is just getting better and better and better. So, but that's the rationale of why I set this assignment. It was hard. I knew a lot of you would find it hard, but that's good. That's how you learn. If I said, "Hey everyone, just go and take a picture of your dog," or go and take a picture of an apple, that's too easy. Well, it's not too easy, but it's not going to make you think. It's not going to make you think as much. Um, does anyone else have a, hopefully that clarifies because quite a few of you, I know I was emailing a few of you back and forth and people on the recording as well about the theme. Does anyone else have any like questions? Nina.
So am I understanding then that this idea of intentional distortion, where you said just tip the camera about 10% forward, that seems to me with the wide angle that you would eliminate a lot.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
should we kind of think of doing that with most landscapes
Potentially, yes, but you can only do it if there's something interesting in the front of
in
the
the
picture,
foreground?
foreground. Yeah, if there's nothing interesting in the foreground, and you definitely don't want to do that if you're trying to take a picture of your spouse or your kids or your or your pet, because
No,
because
landscapes.
they're going to look really. No, no, I mean if they're in the landscape, as
Uh,
if I want to take a picture of my wife and my kids in front of the Golden Gate Bridge, I wouldn't use a wide angle lens because they're going to look really weird. They're going to be distorted. But yes, Nina, if there's something in the foreground that is interesting, 110%, it's a great, easy trick that I've taught all of you now. You just tilt your camera slightly down, put it to that 0.5, and there's a few examples in this set we're going to look at today. Um, but yes, that's something that helps you because often you'll be on a beach, and the interesting thing is the tidal pools on the beach or the interesting rock formations. It's not the ocean and the plain blue sky. Plain blue skies are usually pretty boring in photography. We like it when there's clouds. We like it because the light is more interesting. There's more texture. So yeah, the key point is just really ask yourself the question, is everything I'm taking in this picture important? Is it serving a purpose? Is there anything here that's distracting? Like this is a perfect example. This picture's great. Really good. Like I know this is a flower. You don't have to show me the entire bloom, the stem, all the other flowers. This is a great example of exactly what I'm talking about. Another good phrase to remember this is, which I've mentioned to you guys before, but rewrite it down, is fill the frame. Now, again, you don't have to do this in every single picture. This is just one of the kind of techniques that I'm giving you, but you see this used again and again when people do flowers, people, food, not for a landscape necessarily, but this is I could use this picture as a teaching example of filling the frame. This is great. Our eye goes definitively to the focal point. Everything's serving a purpose, and I'm not that distracted. Now, here's where I think kind of what I'm talking about is going to come into improvement. Cass asked the question earlier, and I said sometimes you'll find an area that's a bit brighter than your focal point. So here in this picture are just as humans, we love bright, shiny things. Our eye usually wants to go to can anyone remember what's the bright part of a picture called? Feel free to shout out. What do we call the bright parts?
okay.
Nope, that's the blurry parts.
That's the blurry part now.
Let's ask Catherine, and I'll give you a clue. It begins, sorry to put you on the spot, it begins with H.
Highlight.
Very nice that you're helping,
Highlight?
but don't give it. Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, it's the highlight. So you'll hear me talk a lot about the bright parts are the highlights, the dark parts are the shadows. Write it down if you didn't have it written down. That's me talking photography language instead of so and generally our eye always wants to go to the highlight, especially if a picture's done badly, if there's like sloppy composition. And in this image here, I think that our eye is somewhat drawn up here as well as being brought to the center of the flower. If I was taking this picture again, I'd probably think about re move or moving, just changing my perspective so that the flower, the center of the flower is probably a bit too much in the middle. We
Mm,
learned about the rule of thirds. So I'd probably think about chopping down on this like
mm,
that.
Much better.
Now my eye goes straight to that focal point. Look at the difference.
mm.
More interesting.
Yeah, it's not even that it is more interesting, but it's more that my eye is being led in a very intentional direction because of the use of light and the use of composition. Here, my eye is kind of wrestling, and this is a great fill the frame example. I'm being very harsh here on whoever took this, but just remember two things. Watch for the highlights. Often we have, I mentioned that we have highlights on the edges of our frame that will take the viewer out the frame rather than take the viewer into it. And also let's try and make sure we don't put things smack bang in the middle of our photo. This is called bullseye composition. And we don't, and sometimes we use it, but at the point where you all are at the moment in kind of your photography learning, I would encourage you as much as you can to offset the main focal point. Can you feel there, like how your eye just very naturally goes out to the center? And when taking this picture, I'm talking about this is like moving 6 to 8 inches. It's nothing, but makes a difference. And one thing actually that's an interesting exercise, I may set this exercise at, yeah, I'm going to set this exercise as a, do you remember on the very first class, um, we were talking about what makes a good photo, and I was showing you different things, and I showed you tons of different visual examples. And one of the things I showed you was an egg. Remember that? And I pulled up an egg, and I said, "Oh my God!" On Instagram, like 60 million people have liked this picture of an egg. A challenge that I may set you, which sounds really boring, but it's actually very interesting, and it makes you think, is I may set you all the egg challenge. And my egg challenge is you get an egg, which most of us have, and your job is to take 10 different pictures of the egg.
Mm.
And taking 10 different pictures of the egg, what do you think to get Chris, to get those different pictures of the egg, what do you think the key is that you have to do?
Move around.
That's it. Change your perspective. When you move the egg could be my Gatorade bottle. When I move around, like look at the light on my face at run now. Look at the light on my face now. Look at the light on my face. I could be the egg. I'll take my glasses off so you can see it. So look, now it's like half and half. Like I'm like, look at the difference of just moving.
I can't see you. I only have the photo of the flower.
Can everyone else see me?
No.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes, yes,
Uh,
yes.
Iris, you should be able to, there should be a little 3 dots that you can click on that should say show presenter. And you should be able, if you still can't see me, you can always leave the meeting and come back in. I'll let you back in. And then I should pop up. But hopefully the majority of you, everyone else can see me okay. And you can see
Yes.
when I talk about,
Yes.
most people don't even think about this. Look at my face now. Nice, even, soft light. iPhone loves me. Terrible light. iPhone hates me. This is the highlight. This is the bright.
There is double click on his profile picture and it'll get large.
Yeah.
oh, okay, thanks.
Um, so that's when I set you a homework at the end of today. One of the things I'm going to get us to do as a group, and we don't necessarily need to go through everyone's pictures, but I'm going to set you all the egg challenge. And we're going to see if we can get 10 different pictures of an egg, but the key is moving, not even just moving around it and see how the lighting goes. What do you think, Karen, what happens when I take a picture of the egg from below? What does the egg look like if I go from below?
Oh, enlarge.
It looks huge. It's going to look like a giant egg. It's going to look like an Easter egg. And I can also photograph it like, look, I can photograph it from below. I can tilt my camera. I can only show a portion of the egg. I don't have to show the whole thing. Remember, show less, tell more.
So Adam, can I ask, so we don't actually move the egg from the one situation or the placement of it?
Yeah.
We keep the egg in one spot and then we do all the moving.
Ideally, yes, because think about it. If you're photographing a rose or you're photographing a beach, you can't move the beach and you can't move.
Correct. Okay.
So it kind of is replicating what happens in the real world. Now, I don't mind if you want to be artistic and you want to move it to a few different positions. Of course, go for it. See how different lighting hits it. See, like I'd set this challenge to people and they'll set up like a whole little scene and they'll put like a blue velvet like blanket behind the egg and they'll put it in there. And you can do whatever you want. But it's the key is, especially you guys, I sometimes set this challenge to like high-end professionals who have absurd amount of camera equipment. And I say, don't use any of your fancy things.
Mm.
Just focus on you. Another good phrase is the best camera is the 2 inches behind it. A big part of my job, yeah, I can teach you. I could spend weeks teaching you all the technical stuff that you can do on an iPhone. And there is some really exciting stuff you can do. But if you can't see properly, then you're never going to elevate your photography, which is why I spend a lot of time talking about composition and lighting and framing and all these other elements that kind of go into creating better imagery. So that was the rationale behind the theme. And as we go through these pictures, I think there's going to be a lot of learnings that we're going to learn along the way to help us continually improve. Okay. By the way, there's quite a lot of us in the group today. So if you Zoom only lets me see like 6 of you at once. It rotates. Like I've got it on like a rotate thing. So like every 20 seconds, a different 6 of you pop up. But if you have a question, you have your hand up for more than maybe 30 seconds, just interrupt me, please, because it's just that I'm not seeing you on my picture. Iris as well, if you don't mind, but who else hasn't got their webcam? So if you feel comfortable, please do turn your webcam on. It really helps me. So I can see if you're writing notes and I can go faster or go slower. But if you're busy doing something, don't worry about it.
How
Okay,
do I turn it on?
so you turn it on down at the bottom, like
Right.
there should be a little video camera that says video, and if you click on it, it should click on your video. It's next to the microphone. There's a video
Ah,
and there's a
okay, I'll try.
um, okay, so look at this one. I put these. This is a great example of filling the frame. Great example of changing your perspective, getting down low and getting close to the dog. Look at this. Look where the dog's eye is. Iris, well done. You got the webcam on.
Thank you.
Okay, let's ask Kate. Morning, Kate. Kate, can you remember what this is called? Where the dog's eye is?
Is that what a nodal
Very
point?
good. Good. So this is a nodal point. Nice job. So remember, we try to put our subject ideally, and whenever we take pictures of people or pets, usually the subject is the eyes. It's kind of the window into the souls, it's the old phrase. And here, undoubtedly, it doesn't matter that I can't see the whole dog's rest of his mouth. It doesn't matter that I can't see the top of his head. I know it's a dog, but I get straight drawn in on the eye. Now, this picture isn't quite straight. I would straighten it up a little bit. I'd also lean a little bit more into it, even being even more, so we're going to talk about symmetry a little bit. Maybe that's a bit too tight. I can't really, I can recreate it kind of. But like, look how interesting that is as a portrait of that dog. We kind of follow, it's actually interesting. His nose or her nose,
Mm.
Judy, what do we call that type of leading line? Please, people, when I ask people, don't shout.
Vanishing point.
Very good. So that, remember I told you these lines are everywhere. So the dog's nose is creating a vanishing point up to the focal point, the main subject, which is the eyes. This is excellent. Very well done, whoever took this. Really, really nice job. Whose was this? Are they here?
It's Julie. It's my dog Tula that always joins us.
Fantastic. Well, look, what breed?
She's a Labradoodle.
Labradoodle. I have a Cavapoo who looks very similar.
Well, I kicked him out this morning. She wants to sit in my lap the whole time, and she'd be thrilled to see her photo.
I was going to say you should have. This is her moment in the spotlight.
She'll be joining me. Trust me, she'll break in.
One thing I was going to say though, just watch out again, and again, this is me being hypercritical, but I know if it watch the edges of your frame. Like I don't need to see this rug or this carpet here. I cropped it out. Those are especially because down here on the bottom right, it's relatively bright. I don't want anything competing with attention. The difference between that and when I have to recrop it, hold on, I'm going to put them up next to each other just so you guys can see. Everyone can see my drawings today, just confirming, right?
Yes.
No, I can't. And I can't see the photos that you showed.
Oh, really? Can you now see me, Iris?
No. Yes, I can see you.
But you can't see the picture of the dog.
No.
Iris, you may want to, do you know what the easiest things in situations like this? Leave the meeting, and
Yeah.
then just re-click on the email that I sent, and I'll pop straight back up. And I'm going to let you straight back in. I'll see you.
All right. Thank you.
Because I can troubleshoot you, but I don't want to detract from the rest of the group.
Okay. Okay. So,
So everyone look at the difference between those two. It's subtle, but the one on the left is a stronger image. And this comes down to that. Do I need everything in my picture? Is there anything distracting? The one on the right, at the bottom of the dog, like on the bottom, both the bottom right and the bottom left, is a distracting element.
yes.
It's minor, but I can tell you, if you submitted that to a GCA show, they would ding you on that, which is interesting. So, but excellent, excellent capture. Really nice job. Let's look at this one. As I say, you guys did this theme really well. Like this, I don't know entirely what it is. It almost looks like a flag, right? Like the colors. It's the side of a building. Very interesting pattern and line. We haven't talked so much about color so far as a group, but we will do. And red and blue, complementary colors, they sit well together. Um, again here, this is a much more abstract picture, but I think probably the focal point ends up being somewhere up here. Has anyone ever heard of the artist called P.A. Mondrian?
Sure.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
This looks a little bit like a Mondrian, which it reminded me of when I saw it. So, Iris, can you see it now? You're not
Yes, I can. Thank you.
fantastic, good. So, and again, very well done, whoever took this. Look, we put that kind of meeting of those lines. But again, remember, this is not a science. We don't have to always get it exactly on the nodal point, but we want to get it close. We don't want to get it like in the this picture would have looked kind of boring. Actually, maybe not because it's so offset. But if I try to really center it, let's do something boring. If I took this picture and it was like this, that's not so interesting, even though it's kind of symmetrical. But well done, whoever took this. This is a perfect fill the frame, detail, big and small. You could have showed me this whole hut, whatever this is, but you chose not to. And that, I think, makes this a stronger picture. Look at this one.
Ooh.
Don't worry about that file can't be found thing. So this is the kind of thing which was great. As I say, all the pictures you guys sent me were excellent. I look at this and I have no idea what this is. Is it a vase? I mean, it looks like the kind of thing you'd see in like a science museum or an optical illusion. But look where we're all drawn. What type of line, Isabella, do we have going on here? What's kind of taking me through? You're on mute. There we go.
An S line.
Good. So there's lots of them, and there's lots of repetitive patterns. It's quite a dizzying picture, but ultimately there is an S curve drawing you to the end of this picture. Whoever took this, are you here? I think you may be on the recording. I can't because I kind of want to know what it is. But the point is, it makes it interesting because I mean, anyone want to hazard a guess what that is? A vase? Maybe.
Hat.
Could be a hat.
A hat.
Could be a hat. And also, do you know what else is nice about this whole details big and small? Is you also play with a big word in photography that I haven't mentioned to this group yet, which is something called scale. And scale is the principle of concept of being able to assess the size. I mean, you've always heard the word, the size of the objects within our frame. Because of the way this was taken, it's warping my sense of scale. This could be 100 meters long and this could be 6 inches long. I've got no idea. That makes it a stronger picture. It's like if you're in a national park, you guys go to Yosemite or at Tahoe or you're somewhere where there's like a big landscape. Often you'll see really good photographers will include like a teeny weeny little person or a teeny weeny little car because that shows and tells the story of like car companies use this in their commercials the whole time when they're trying to like encourage you to go and like go and drive down Highway 1. You'll see a picture of a car on the Big Sur and the car will be tiny, even though they're selling the car. What they're actually doing is selling the dream of you can drive this car down this amazing picturesque road And by making it small within this epic landscape, it's giving it a sense of scale. You'll hear me talk about that as well, like as we move through and I'll see other things. But another big advantage of filling the frame, zooming with your feet, mastering the art of exclusion rather than addition, is it helps provide a sense of scale. So very well done, whoever took this one. This is excellent. Let's look at this guy. Also
Mhm.
good.
Oh, good.
Really good. Um, well done on the focus. Remember, I felt like all of you, by the way, as a group, your focus was much stronger this week than our previous session.
Yeah.
And hopefully you felt that when you were taking the pictures, the whole tap the screen to focus, tap and hold. Remember the 1, 2, 3, and then you get on your screen, you're going to get a reminder for some people, AEAF lock. It's going to be in yellow. It's going to be at the top. That means that when you tap and hold on this pelican's eye, you are saying to the camera, unless I tell you otherwise, do not lose focus on the pelican's eye. Remember, everyone, you can practice it now. You could just go to your camera, find an object in the room you're sitting in, and you're just going to take your finger and you go 1, 2, 3, hold. And the square is going to kind of go a solid yellow, and you're going to see at the top it says AEAF lock. And until you tap somewhere else on the screen, that will stay there. Theoretically, that means if I'm looking at this pelican, I can take 20 pictures of the pelican, and I know that until I tap somewhere else, that eye will always be sharp. If I turned around suddenly and wanted to photograph another pelican behind me, I have to redo it. But when we're focusing on a petal of a flower or a plate of sushi or an animal or a landscape, I really want you to start using this. It's another thing. It purposely makes you slow down, but it really helps your photos to be sharper. And this photo is excellent. Very, very good capture. Only thing I'm going to say again is we're going to check the edges of our frame. And we generally don't like, unless it's more intentional, you see how down here, just the tiny bit of the feathers are cropped off.
Mhm.
Me moving 2 inches to my right is going to fix that.
Mhm.
I don't mind if the crop is intentional, like you could do this picture and that could be the photo. Like
Mhm.
it's actually, look how the line of the bird is created. I'll put it over here. Look how the line of the, I actually prefer it over here, actually. Look how the line of the bird is creating an S curve.
Mhm.
Look how the eye is on the nodal point.
Mhm.
Look how the bird is looking into the negative space. I've purposely positioned him over there as if I put him on the other side. It's going to look a bit weird and awkward because he's looking out. You see the difference? He's looking out one way and then we get stuck in here, which we don't want to do. So this is really well done, whoever took this. I'm just showing you another way that you could have perhaps taken it. And
Yeah,
then,
Adam, it's Julie. I took that. I was in a kayak
oh, nice, even better.
and
Well
I
done.
had no balance. I was scared to death I was going to drop my phone. So I like the way you cropped it much better than me because I was trying to show big detail, I think, because I had no clue what I was doing.
Yeah.
So, but I love the way that you've taken just the face, just the beak.
Yeah.
That is so much more interesting.
But the picture, the original, you're being your own harshest critic. You did a really good job. You did a really good job on the original. Um, the other thing I will just tell you when we talk about cutting things off, like the feathers here being a tiny bit cut off, and I'll cut Julie some slack now. I know she was in a kayak, so it wasn't that easy. Is when we take pictures, especially of people, but animals as well, never cut people off at the ankles and never cut people off at the wrists. Because if you cut, and I don't think I have an example of this to show you right now, but if you cut people, I may see one as we move through, but if you cut, I'll try and create an awkward composition of this bird. Yeah, there we go. Kind of. But if you cut people's feet off, or you cut people's hands off, just the hands or legs, it looks like they're floating. They're not anchored to the space. So you can crop in and be more intentional like this, but never crop at the wrists or at the ankles. It's like just an unspoken rule of photography. Like if you submitted it to any photography judge or professional across the world, they would pick up on the same thing, that the subject feels like it's floating. Just makes them look like they haven't got any feet or haven't got any hands. It just looks a bit strange. So watch out for that. But well done, Julie. Nice shot. Let's look at this one.
That's pretty.
Really interesting. Look how the light. Are these? I don't know if you're here. Are these Chihoulis? Maybe. Whoever's here. I asked because I once got commissioned.
They are Chihoulis.
Oh, great. Yeah, I once got commissioned to go and photograph a whole load of Chihuly. There was a massive Chihuly exhibition in London, and I did all the photography for it. And then I went to Seattle to do some more stuff for it. And these are so much fun to play with because of the way they reflect light, refract light, the brilliant colors. Again, I feel that, sorry, just shout out who this was because you weren't on. Whose is this?
Bridget.
Bridget, great.
I
Hey,
wrote it.
Bridget. So, Bridget's done an excellent job of, we've got an S curve here, rolling us up to the nodal point. Bridget, though, I do think you could have come close, if you were allowed, there may have been a rope here. But if you could have got closer to here, I would be fascinated. Even this like reflection is an interesting photo. Picking out a small part or like a cluster of these colors would have created really interesting abstract line. Also, again, watch the edges of your frame, Bridget. This isn't your fault, this is just the way the light was, but you can see on the bottom left-hand side here is this little splodge, that green splodge. That's just the way that light's coming. Again, that's something we can take out afterwards, but if I can move and I can identify at the beginning, I would just move 2 degrees to my right and this disappears. This is just from a light source. You often get this when you're photographing outside with the sun.
Mhm.
They see like they almost look like little like rainbow dots. You see this when you watch like a TV show and like they're filming into the sun and they're making it look all dreamy as you'll see like little red and purple dots. Generally, we don't want that in photography because it's distracting. So a great trick is if you're out on a sunny day and you see that, if you just take your hand and cup it over the lens like this, that's all you got to do is just cup it over the lens. It serves exactly the same purpose as if you had a big camera like me here and you had one of these, and you screw this is a lens hood. We don't have them for the iPhone. And if you cup your hand over, you will remove those, we call them sunspots or sun flares. And generally those are unwanted, usually because they're really bright. Nina, what's the bright part of the photo called?
Highlight.
Got it. So they're usually highlights that take our attention away from the focal point. But Bridget, really nice job here on capturing these. Out of interest, Bridget, could you go closer to these or were you behind like a rope?
You know, it's funny, Adam, I went through some photographs last night and I had a lot of Chihoulis. I thought those would be so cool if I had known what you've already taught us. Because they were all just straight on, like you said, most people just take the bridge right there. Well, that's what I found in almost all of my Chihoulis. I thought, oh God. So I really appreciate everything you've been telling us. It's really giving me a whole new perspective.
Yep.
And I would think somewhat, I didn't touch this and it doesn't actually look that clear, but
It's just how you sent it to me. It is sharp. It's nice and crisp how you took it.
I imagine cropped or cleaned up, it could be really fun. I just kind of
Yeah.
had to say something.
Yeah, no, it's fine. And absolutely, like honestly, a photo just like, in fact, hold on, while we're here, given that I'll show you, let me just show you, let's see if I've got one of the Chihuly pictures that I did, just to show you as an example. See if I can find it.
Have you ever seen the one of the boat filled with all the
Yeah.
orbs? Oh
And,
my God.
and I frequently have to go to Vegas for work, and they have in the Bellagio Hotel, he's done a whole like chandelier ceiling. But look at, just to give you guys an idea, like that's one of many photos that I've taken of a Chihuly.
That's gorgeous.
But you see how getting close, and I can even play with this and I can move it around, like maybe it goes up here. But how the light reflects it, that is a good fill in. It almost looks like a shell, right? It looks like a line of shells. So just that's kind of the visual of what Bridget, I think you can get to with this picture. Obviously, if you go back and retake it, or even in cropping afterwards, but um, rather, I want you all, and thank you for the kind words, Bridget. I want you all to be more creative than I don't want you to be documentarians. We're not just documenting the thing in front of us. When we document the thing in front of us, think about it whenever I'm not photographing it to go in a textbook and say, this is a Chihuly on a pillar. Like I'm photographing it to make someone look at it and go, ooh, that's interesting. It's getting you to think out the box. And it's interesting you say that, Bridget, because so many groups such as this that I teach, people message me thinking that, oh my God, I watched the news tonight. And like this was positioned here and this was placed here, and there was a leading line here, and I'm watching this show on Netflix, and I couldn't help but notice all this stuff that you've never really noticed before. But once you kind of start to peel back the onion, open the Pandora's box of creativity, and the more you practice and the more you persevere, the better you're going to become. You're going to start seeing this so naturally. But really nice job. I really like the reflections actually, like on the wall. It almost looks like fire, the one on the bottom. So I would
Thank
lean into that. Let's look at this one. This is nice, and this is why I was talking about focus. Excellent focus here. Very, very strong. Center of the flower is really sharp. I'm gonna sound a bit like a broken record today, but again, check the edges of your frame. Look at that very top left-hand corner. There's a little white thing. It's tiny, but it's there up here.
Mm.
And do I need to be seeing? I love the change of perspective here, but do I need to be seeing all of this table or this wood, whatever it is, underneath? Maybe not. Can I tilt my camera to create this and make it a bit more interesting and abstract? Straight away, I feel like that becomes a more, I mean, do I even need to take, there's no rules in photography. Do I even need to take it the right way around? Like, can I rotate it and move it off to like the left-hand nodal point like I've done there, so it's leading into the frame? The key that there's a great phrase by, I can't remember the name of the photographer who this came from, but it's a famous photographer, but it says, the salvation of photography comes from experimentation. And that basically just means, and this is kind of where the egg challenge comes in, is that the more that you experiment, and the beauty of what we have to our disposal now is digital photography is free. It's instantaneous. You can see what you've taken a picture of. You have to take it to the store and wait a week and forget where you were and what the light was like. You can take the picture, you can review it, and if you think you need to take another one, take another one. I don't want you to take 100 pictures just unintentionally, but intentionally you can move around and you can experiment. You can turn your camera upside down. You can do a lower perspective. You can come up high. You can think, what does the light look like? In this picture, the light's coming from the left-hand side. It's very nice, kind of back left. And you can see it's casting this shadow. If you look carefully, there's a shadow there, which is very nice on the leaf. So please don't go to the Bixby Bridge, go on holiday to Big Ben in London, take one picture and move on. And that's sometimes hard when we're with our family and with our kids, and everyone's like, come on, hurry up, like we're on vacation. But just try to slow down if you can. And that will really help. But whose was this? This is very good if you're here. Anyone? No, someone on the recording. Well, well done. Really nice job on the focus. I should actually put these two together. Sorry, that's it. These two are obviously the same thing, just taken from a slightly different perspective, moving around. Both work really well. Both have these S curves running through them. And again, I have zero idea what these are. These are excellent. I probably prefer, well, let's do a show of hands actually. Who prefers the one on the left?
Mhm. Okay.
Hands up. Okay, who prefers the one on the right? Hands up. Okay, so we're about 70-30 to the one on the right. Let me ask Marietta, which one did you prefer and why? You're on mute. If you, I'll ask Judy while we're waiting for Marietta. Oh, Marietta, you're back now. Hold on, let Marietta go first.
I like them both for different reasons.
Go on.
I said I like them both for different
No,
reasons.
then elaborate. Tell me more.
Mhm.
Um,
Why do you like, tell me why you like the one on the right?
well, it has more detail. You can get a sense of what the whole thing is.
Yeah.
But the one on the left is completely different. I guess I would use them for different things. I
Mm.
think they're good.
Yeah, they are both good and they're very different. You're right. The one on the right is much sharper and the one on the right really spirals you in. The one on the left is not giving so much away, but both aren't giving as much away. Judy, which one did you prefer, the one on the left or the one on the right?
The one on the right, and just what you said, it was sharper, so
Mm.
that
Yeah.
made my eye happy. And I really did feel like I was just falling into the picture.
Yeah, you
Mhm.
do. This is kind of an Alice in Wonderland picture, doesn't it? It feels like going down the rabbit hole here. Um, but really, as I say, I think whoever took this is on the recording, not with us today live, but well done, whoever took this. This is a very, very, again, I've seen pictures like this so many times where I see, I'm just imagining this is a vase. I see the top of the vase, I see a bit of the table, I see tons of other stuff. This still is the focal point, but this is very, very well executed. So nice job. Let's look at this one. So this one was interesting. This one looks like someone played whoever it was, it looks like you did something to it afterwards, added some type of motion. The one thing I would say here is be careful. You want to make sure that tap and hold trick that I told you. Here you can see that the focus has gone on the plant on the back. The leaves at the back are in focus.
Mhm.
And then the flowers are blurry. Now that may have been intentional, but I doubt it. I would rather this photo where this was nice and sharp and the shrubbery behind was blurry. Sometimes when you do the 1, 2, 3 hold, and I would imagine this was a windy day and the flowers were just blowing a bit,
Right.
sometimes you get it in the wrong place. The camera puts it in the wrong place. So again, check one thing that we haven't talked about really at all, and is like on my agenda of things to show you all, is focus, is how to really control like what we call in photography. You can write it down, I'll come back to it. Depth of field. I'll define it for all of you. So you'll sometimes see that if you do any reading on photography, they just use the acronym DOF. Depth of field, the definition of depth of field is when we take a photo of anything, how much of the scene from the front, so this is the front, to the back is in focus. So the definition of depth of field is how much of the photo from the front to the back is in focus.
What'd you
Some,
think?
sometimes we choose to have a very, what's called shallow depth of field. Only a teeny weeny little bit of the photo is in focus. Sometimes we do the opposite. Sometimes we want a large depth of field where everything's in focus. Hold on, Judy, one sec. I see your hand. Um, so depth of field is something that is a little bit more complicated, not complicated, it's a little bit more advanced, and we'll get there. I'm actually going to show you. Let me just, Judy, you can ask your question while I'm just getting one thing up to show the group.
If I was trying to take pictures of bark,
Okay.
and I could get this kind of the center in focus, but it really blurred on the outside.
Were
Do I
you,
change my feet, or is there something in my camera that can
great
increase
question.
the depth of field?
Were you very close to the tree?
Yes, because I was
Yeah.
trying to get the detail. Yeah.
So sometimes when we are very close, especially on an iPhone, is when we decrease our distance from a subject, as in when we get closer, we compress the depth of field. So and that's why people have macro lenses, for example. Like the iPhone kind of has a macro lens, but people with like some people with cameras have a macro lens. It's because it helps keep more stuff sharp, even if you're taking a picture of this and you're right up in the nose of it. So the best way around it with an iPhone, there's an easy way around it, is you just take 1 step or 2 steps back, and then you zoom in.
Oh, okay.
You use the whip.
Mhm.
So you're not taking the picture and getting more in. You're still getting the same composition, But you physically, if I'm taking a picture of my finger rather than be here, I'm back here and then I'm just zoomed in.
Thank you.
Great question. Really good question. And I was going to show you guys, you've probably all seen this picture before.
Yeah.
Okay, everyone's seen this picture.
Yeah.
Okay. Iris, where does your eye go in this picture?
Oh, the eyes.
Yeah, so it goes to the eyes because her eyes are huge and they're look where they are, look, they're along they're two-thirds, one-third of the way up the frame. Her
Mhm.
eyes are like the same color as the wall. There's tons of things that I could break down in this photo of why this. Notice how the head is chopped off, like on purpose to draw it exactly the same as the picture we saw of the dog. It's the same principle. But what's interesting here, and hopefully you can see this through through Zoom, is the only thing that is completely sharp in this photo is this eye.
Hmm.
Everything else is slightly blurry.
Mhm.
And that's intentional when the photographer, whose name is Steve McCurry, took this picture. Look at the tip of her nose. Look at her lips. Look at even this eye. It's just slightly, we call it in photography, soft. It's just slightly blurry. So it's a very shallow depth of field. Only a tiny bit from the front to the back is in focus. I'll teach you how to do this, but not right now. But I want to teach you more of the theory so you understand the theory and the concept. Is that means that your eye, when you look at this picture, very comfortably goes straight here because it's the sharpest part of the image. Has anyone ever seen the picture? This guy, Steve McCurry, took this in 1985. He went back about 5 years ago and refound the same woman.
Yeah,
Have you guys seen that? I'll show you quickly.
yeah, yeah.
You haven't seen it. It's interesting. Let me just show you. So the picture's called Afghan Girl. Oh, see that. So you'll see, yeah, here she is, 30 years later.
Wow.
Yeah, interesting. You can kind of see it's the same eyes, right? He tried to recreate a similar like pose and expression. Light on this. No, where do we think, Chris? Where do we think the light is coming from on this portrait?
I think it's coming from in front of her, like from the camera.
Exactly, which is exactly where we want it to come from. So imagine here's our clock, and here's 6 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 9 o'clock, and we're at 6 o'clock taking this picture. The light's coming from over here. It's coming from like 5 o'clock. You can actually, if you look really carefully in her eyes, if you zoom in on this picture, you can see the window that he's using to illuminate this picture. The photographer has that. Often the key, if ever you want to know how the light is falling in a picture, if you pick up a Vogue or a magazine you're reading and there's a celebrity or someone on the cover or pictures of people, if you look in their eyes, you'll see the catch lights. We call them catch lights, and you'll often see a little window or you'll see a photography light. But yes, here the light is coming from behind her, which gives that nice even look. But again, even on this one, hopefully you can see he recreated exactly the same thing. The tip of her nose and the tip of her nose are both slightly blurry. That's intentional. That's a shallow depth of field, which is what we've got if we come back to our picture from the group. This is a really shallow depth of field. It's just the focus is in the wrong place. And that's where the really being conscious of where that yellow square is. Maybe the person who took this, I'm making up something, it may not be true, but if we don't touch on it at all and we just take a picture, the camera's just guessing. It's just going to guess what it thinks should be in focus and what it thinks shouldn't be in focus. I'll give you actually, while we're talking about this, because I think it's useful, I'll give you 2 tips on your iPhone to help decrease the depth of field, which is often what we want to do because you want to take a picture of your dog and you want everything behind it to be blurry. You want to take a picture of a rose and the background of the garden to be blurry. One thing you can do is just what I talked about is, so this is to decrease the depth of field, which equals more blur. The first thing you can do is literally move closer. You just move your feet. The closer you are, hopefully you can read my writing. Closer you are to subject equals shallower depth of field. Okay. Anyone got any questions on that so far? Okay, good. Second one kind of ties into it. This is a real photographer's cheat. We use this the whole time because we just zoom in. The more if you take a picture of a cup of water that may be sitting on your desk, and then you zoom in on the cup of water and you press and hold, you'll see that the amount of blur behind the cup of water increases significantly when you zoom in. The more you zoom in, the fancy photography word is focal length. We can just think of it as zoom. So the increased focal length or zoom equals decreased depth of field. So I could be taking a picture of a family and I'm on the beach and I'm like, yeah, I wish this beach was a little bit more blurred. One trick a great photographers hack is I just take, it kind of goes against this one, number one, but if I took half a step back and then I zoomed in, everything behind them is going to be 10 times more blurred. We're going to create both of these two things. I can't remember who said the word, but we've already said the word today as a group. These things create bokeh, more bokeh. And bokeh, Karen, can you remember what bokeh means?
No,
Okay,
sorry.
let's have it. What happens when I have a shallow depth of field? What happens behind the subject? What happens behind the people?
Well, they blur.
That's it. Bokeh is just the fancy photography word for blur.
Okay.
The reason I tell you it is, again, like if you start and you get more and more into your photography and you start reading a little bit more up on it or taking more lessons or entering GCA stuff, you'll often hear people say like great control of bokeh or nice use of bokeh or very pretty bokeh. It just means blur. It's just the fancy for it. It's just talking photographer's language. It's actually interestingly, it's a Japanese word. And it stems from the main three camera manufacturers, Nikon, Sony, and Canon, are all Japanese. And this word has kind of just infiltrated into more general photography vernacular language, um, especially since digital. But yeah, it's a good word to know, bokeh. You'll see it come up again and again if you sit on any GCA stuff, especially with judges. Okay, so to surmise that, to create more, I'm going to talk really photographer's language, to create more bokeh, we can move with our feet or we can zoom our camera. Both of them instantly create more blur. And you guys can play around with that. You can take a picture of a glass of water from 10 feet away and then move 5 feet and then move 2 feet and then move 1 feet. And as long as you tap on the glass of water, look at the difference in the blur behind it. You can try it with the egg when you do the egg challenge. Okay. Let's go to the next one.
Yeah.
This one's great. This is almost like the pelican. It's in really nice composition where I think this is a Rodan. Correct me if I'm wrong if you're here, but it looks like one. But I think I know where this was taken. I think this is in Stamford. Stamford have a beautiful Rodan garden. If you ever are around Stamford, they also have a very good cactus garden, succulent garden that's about 5 minutes from here, which is an excellent spot to practice photography, which most people don't know about. But well done here for not showing me everything, for putting the face, the eyes right on that nodal point. And I would say most importantly here, for having the sculpture looking into the frame, the same as what I did with this would look so awkward. I can't recreate it here, but I'm going to draw a terrible face, sorry. But if the face was over here, looking out of the picture, because oh my God, that was a really quick drawing. Don't judge me. It looks like a chicken or a rooster. But the point is that you want your subject when they're looking a certain way, you want to follow them into, we call this negative space. Now, tell me, Ruth, does this have a shallow depth of field or a large depth of field? You're on mute. There we go.
I'd say it's a shallow depth of field.
Excellent. It's a total shallow depth of field. It's one way of going into excluding things. We have no idea what's behind it. Maybe there's a beautiful flower field, but if there was, that would distract us from him. So creating a shallow depth of field here, well done, as well as strong composition. Again, lighting is good. Lighting's coming from over the photographer's left shoulder here onto the sculpture. Has created a really, really interesting picture. And it's just it's a storytelling picture. You kind of look at it and the guy like looks really sad. You're like, why is he so sad? So now,
Adam,
yeah, hi.
hi, I have a question. What is that green thing in the back?
I think it's just shrubbery. It's just the garden.
Oh, I thought it was
Right.
like a curtain. Oh, okay.
No,
Okay.
it's just so blurred. It's probably
Oh,
20
okay.
feet. It's probably 20 feet behind the sculpture, and
Okay.
it's just a garden. It's just shrubbery.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you.
You're right. It does look like it's just like a curtain that's been pulled, but it's not.
Mhm.
And generally, as well, it's easier to create this depth of field. Let's just imagine. Here's me taking the picture. Let me move this. So here's me taking the picture, and here's the sculptor. Here's the statue, the sculpture. If the plants are right here, like literally at the statue's back, it's much harder to create depth of field than if they're back here. If I was to come and take a portrait of any of you and I wanted to create blur behind you, I'd make sure there was separation between you and the background. Like I'm looking at Kate, for example. Kate has like a brick wall behind her, which if I took a picture with that brick wall, it may be a bit distracting because my eyes would want to go to the brick as well as to go to her face. If Kate was standing with like right up against that brick wall, it's almost impossible for me to create bokeh. So I would say to Kate, come 3 foot, 4 foot away from the wall, and then it's easy. You need a separation between the subject and the background. So just bear that in mind. But yeah, this is just, I know where this is, I think. This is the garden at Stanford. There's probably 20 or 30 sculptures that are really right by the art museum there, just to the left as you're looking to the entrance. But well done, whoever took this, and perfect for all this theme of details, big and small. Let's look at this one.
Wow.
This one's great. Can you see as a group how you're all improving, which is really encouraging for me? If I was to show you pictures from class one, these are a big step up, which is great. Look at the repetitive lines here and the waves. Look at even where the position, oops, sorry, even where the positioning of the big splashes is on that bottom left-hand corner. It's on the nodal point. Well done, whoever took this as well, for doing
Gorgeous.
one of the biggest no-no. Whose was it, sorry?
It was me, Sally.
Sally, excellent, Sally. So well done for not putting the horizon right through the middle. This picture feels so much more dramatic and so much more well thought out purely by the fact that you've put the horizon 2/3 of the way up into the frame. Now, you could have also, Sally, when you took this, done it the other way. Maybe you could have said, I think this is probably the better way, but you could have said, oh, I want to just focus on these clouds and just a hint of the ocean and let the clouds be like a leading line down to this area of land. But I think what you've done here is excellent. This is not easy to do on an iPhone to get a really crisp shot of the waves like this. And changing your perspective, being patient, waiting for the splash to come up. Really well done, Sally. Very, very nice. You take this in Carmel? Sally?
And I'm having trouble. I can't even get my face showing. So am I muted?
No, we can hear you. We can hear you.
Okay.
I just asked where you took this. It's just been nice.
This is Pebble Beach.
Pebble Beach, great.
And I was right next to that rock where the pelican was, I think.
Very good. And
And
as well, sorry, Sally.
I actually used a fence as my tripod. There was a fence there. And I use the fence as my tripod.
Excellent. Very, very good. And also look, everyone, where's the light coming from here? Where's the sun when Sally took this picture? It's behind her.
Behind her.
And that's illuminated the whole thing and just made Sally stroke the iPhone's job much easier. Ruth, you have a question?
I had a question. How did she make the wave, the drops so clear and so clear at that moment? You know, it's so hard to get the f-stop. How did she do that? That's what I want to know.
Good question.
And I'll
Sally,
be,
Sally, do you want me to?
Well, I had it on 3 of my 16. I have a Pro 16 and I used my zoom lens.
Yeah. So the zooming, and again, I'm not going to get too technical on this right now for the group. Well, again, this is something we can definitely explore. Um, Primarily, what I imagine Sally did here is she put her square here. She tapped there. Now, the iPhone has done a really good job of kind of automatically figuring out this water is moving. Ruth, you mentioned about f-stops. F-stops actually have nothing to do with capturing movement. Movement is captured more, and I'm not going to go down this road at all today, but we can talk about it because you can definitely change it. It's all to do with something called shutter speed. And as the iPhones are getting better and better and better, they're getting more and more like real cameras. I mean, lots of people will always say it's funny, like the iPhone used to be the phone. It was like a great phone with an okay camera. Now it's an amazing camera with the byproduct that it can make a phone call. It's almost a camera more than it is a phone. Most people who use their phone, they probably take way more pictures in it than they actually make phone calls. But yeah, this is well done, Sally, for zooming in. So she's zoomed in to get rid of all the nonsense that I don't need to see over here and over here. And then putting the square on the rock has helped to freeze the water. So very nice job. Let's look at
Thank
the
you. I just want to share that I had to correct the line after the horizon line.
You mean
After,
straighten it?
yeah, I had to straighten it up after the shot.
Yeah, and that's probably because you're on a fence that wasn't straight.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's fine. That's good. And well done for doing that. Even the little, I mean, again, like when you look at these pictures, you see there's actually a vanishing point in the wake here, almost taking us to that little bird,
Mm-hmm.
which is everyone see
Did
that?
that too. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we can't control where the bird is. Sometimes it's more luck than judgment, but there's definitely a strong vanishing point here. So nice job. Let's look at this one. Really nice in terms of strong color. Again, light coming from the right direction, filling the frame. I'm going to make the same comment here as I did with the last close-up flower. Just don't be afraid to off-center the center of the flower. I could go this way. I could go this way, which is probably better because of the fact that it's so bright up there. But unless something, and this is again on my agenda to get to at some point, unless something is perfectly symmetrical, of which this is not, generally we try not to put the thing right in the middle because our eye tries to kind of dart all over the picture. You look a bit to the left, bit to the right, you eventually end up at the center. Whereas I want us to go undoubtedly straight to the middle of that flower. Okay, so just much like I talk about not putting the horizons through the middle for landscapes, try not to put the center of the flower or your central focal point through in the middle. Try to avoid that bull's eye composition that you hear me talk about.
Oh,
Really interesting.
Whoops.
Well, this one, I straight away, whoever sent this, I saw a face, like straight away. Like I saw like a Halloween-esque face. So here's the eyes, although that kind of looks like a nose, and then it's kind of missing the nose, and then here's kind of a funny mouth. But I can't. Is this a? I was trying to figure out. You can tell me whoever took this. Is this? You guys would say tomato. I would say tomato. Is this a tomato
Mm-mm.
or tomato? What is it?
Persimmon.
Oh, it's a persimmon.
Mhm.
Ah, that makes sense. Yeah, I couldn't figure it out. I should have got that from the stem. But again, not including the whole thing, definitely details. I would have really liked to see this picture and gone even closer. been like, what does this persimmon look like? Like if I just, it's going to look a bit blurry here, but if I just create something like that, you've got no idea what that is now. That's show less, tell more, what I just did. I could have gone up here, done the equivalent picture, maybe like in here. Tons of different ways that I could, but the focus is very good here, not easy. Whose was this, please? Someone on the recording. But really no. By the way, I purposely anonymize everyone's pictures because some people don't like to be called out. So I like if you want to tell us it's your picture, great. And I also randomize them so everyone's pictures are kind of intermingled. But really good, whoever did this. Nice job. Look at this one.
Ooh.
It's really similar to the spirally thing that we saw before that we didn't know what it was. Just the other way around. Check the edges of your frame, top right hand corner. Doesn't need to be there. We could crop that out just a tad. But this is really interesting. And again, feel free to tell me what it is, but is it?
It's a basket, a native Indian basket.
Yeah, I couldn't figure out if it was a basket or it was like some form of like wicker chair back. Difficult to figure out. But really, well, actually, can you see how this is yours, Karen, right?
Yes.
So Karen very successfully put the kind of the crescendo of the spiral here. And there's actually another compositional rule I'm just going to touch upon and introduce you to something called, how many people just put up your hands have heard of something called the golden ratio?
No.
Okay. Okay. It's good you haven't heard of it because it means I can go into more detail on it. In fact, I'm gonna write that down as one of my things. The golden ratio is this crazy like ratio that's 1.6 to 1. Just write it down for the time being. Don't worry about how I got there. But it's this crazy thing that you see, like if I showed you the Mona Lisa, if I showed you the Greek Parthenon, if I showed you a Michelangelo Sistine Chapel, you're going to see this thing come up again. People use it to like predict the stock market. I mean, they use it for loads of things. But in photography, the golden ratio dictates that when you split a frame by this magic number, 1.6 to 1. So this is saying that this is 1.6 and this is 1. And then you join it together with a line and your spiral happens at where those two lines meet. That if you put your focal point there, your main subject, and you're really close here, then that's going to create a very interesting composition. It's another compositional technique on top of rule of thirds. I don't want to confuse you too much because I want you to focus on kind of one thing at a time, but I'm just introducing it because a lot of us actually see with the rule of thirds or see with the golden ratio just because of all of the images through life that we've consumed. You know what you like and you know what you don't like. You know, that kind of feels very natural to you. Whereas if I I suppose this is symmetrical. That's nice because it's symmetrical. We probably find that pleasing because it's symmetrical. But pulling it off to the side here, this to me is a golden ratio composition, Karen. Had you heard of the golden ratio before?
Yes.
Yeah, good. And again, for time constraints today, I can't go into too much detail of it, but I want you to write it down. Write down 1.6 to 1, and just note that it's another compositional skill that we have in our toolbox. That as we learn about it and get better about it, that sometimes that's the right one to choose. Remember, my job is to give you all the tools. Your job is not to use every tool in every picture. It's to pick the right ones that are relevant and also pick the right ones that make you you. I don't want to make Cass or Julie or Chris or Iris or Ruth a clone of me. I want you each to be taking your own independent pictures. We all see the world, and that's the beauty of photography. It allows you to express yourself, even people who aren't artistic. You see, I draw a stick person. I'm not talented with I wish I was. I wish I was a great illustrator, but I'm not. But photography allows me to kind of express my artistry, which I think is part of the fun, is that it's probably the most accessible art form, both in terms of like time, cost, but also in terms of skill. Like I see tons of photographers who take amazing pictures, but they're not artistic, so to speak. They're more like their left brain or right brain. They're not one or the other. So anyway, good job, Karen, on this one.
Ooh.
But this one, I think this is a car. I think.
Mhm.
Um, but again, not showing. But do you know where you've all done? So look at this one for golden ratio. It's like, see how it's at the crescendo of the spiral? Or if I go back to rule of thirds, I'm using a program here, by the way, called Lightroom, which I don't need you guys to worry about too much at the moment. But you can see how here we've got clear line taking us down to the subject here. I love the reflections. I love the water. Again, hypercritical. I'd be checking the edges of my frame. There's one little black spot up there that I'd probably crop out because it's distracting. Um, but overall, this is an excellent image.
Mhm.
Really good. This is a really good. This could be an intimate landscape. You could enter this to GCA as an intimate landscape. You could enter it as detail, for texture, for line, framing. There's tons of things that this fulfills. So really well done, whoever. Feel free to shout out your name if you on the call, but really, really well done. All of them, as I say, excellent. Oh, so here's the same persimmon, or maybe a different persimmon. So here, let's ask someone who I haven't called on for a while. Let's ask Catherine. Catherine, is this a shallow depth of field or is this a big depth of field?
Shallow.
Good. And let's ask Judy, because it's a shallow depth of field, what has been created behind the persimmon?
Out of focus.
Yeah, what do we call it? What's my fancy word for that?
Shallow depth of field.
Bokeh.
Oh,
Bokeh.
oh, I'm sorry, what?
That's okay. So the shallow depth of field, remember, creates this thing called bokeh.
Oh, bokeh. Okay.
Bokeh is just the blur. It's just the blur. Um, and whoever took this, again, well done with the lighting behind you.
It was me.
A nice job, Judy. Probably here, I would have again maybe taken out the bottom, like as in that stuff down there. I don't think that needs to be there. If anything, I'm kind of interested in this like
Oh.
hairy stalk, like
Mhm.
this. And then there's tons of line all bringing us up to the top of the persimmon here. Just one way that you could have cropped it. Again, all too often, especially in the era of social media, everyone wants to take, especially on a phone, everyone wants to take their pictures this way. Portrait, portrait, portrait. Don't be afraid to turn your camera to a landscape orientation. In fact, for those of you who have got iPhones in the last couple of years, your iPhone has a button on it when you hold the camera like this that allows you to take the picture without having to press the normal big gray circle. They want to try to encourage you to get back. I mean, the majority of photographers with real cameras actually have the inverse problem. They take everything as landscape and they never think to turn their camera portrait. But we're so used to holding our phones that way. Again, one of the things you can practice when you're trying to create, let's say, an extraordinary image of something that is perhaps ordinary, one trick that you can do is move between a landscape and a portrait orientation. And again, this picture is a great example of it because I could even go, maybe that's my picture, just to make it more about line and texture. Maybe I take that picture and I get creative, kind of like I did with one of the earlier ones. And I'm like, what happens if I spin it around like that?
No idea what it is.
Kind of looks like a racetrack. But look at the vanishing point the persimmon's created. Look at the vanishing point it's created. Taking you to the back of that. Look at this distracting. What's Julie, what's that called? That bright bit.
Highlight.
Yeah, I don't want that there. That's drawing my eye away from where I want to get it. So we just crop it out. Much better.
A basketball.
It does look a bit, yeah, it does look a bit like a basketball. But that comes, we can all look at it, and even the shadowing across the persimmon makes it look interesting. So don't be afraid, portrait and landscape. Good lessons come out of this one. This one's very interesting. So this one's interesting because the subject is just interesting. Again, I'd be careful and I'd watch the edges of the frame. The shadow, that little shadow up there, again, I don't think needs to be here. And I think on who are you here? Whoever took this one? No.
I
So,
did.
oh, you did who? Just shout out your name. Sorry, I can't see you.
Bridget.
Bridget, nice, Bridget. Well done. So, Bridget, is this a tapestry?
Well, it was no, it was my neighbor's rug, and I desperately needed to send you something. So I tried to work with her rug last night,
Good.
taking a photo.
So one thing you could have done is you could have thought about just picking out like one element of the rug. Maybe this bit that Lionel looks like a bunny.
Oh.
And just coming in close just on this. I think a picture like this would really benefit from like a rotate one way or the other because it will make it feel more dynamic. Look how I found there an S curve now going through the picture.
Interesting.
I mean, I would argue that you could look at this rug and take 50 different pictures of this rug
You're right.
just by changing angles and perspective. You could have sat on the floor and taken a picture of the rug like across the rug rather than look down on it. Would have looked totally different. Um, but everyone, by the way, everyone, considering how hard you all thought the theme was, everyone actually did a good job. No, I wouldn't say I got one picture from any of you that didn't fulfill the theme, that was way off base, which is really encouraging, really encouraging. Let's look at this one. This one's very simple. I think this is a real storytelling picture. You look at this and you're like, what is that? Why is all there this rustic red paint? Positioning of the lock or whatever it is centered. Maybe it would be better if it was slightly off, maybe to the right. But it's definitely a show less, tell more picture here in terms of making me think about what's going on. Also, nice job on the focus, whoever took this. This is not easy to focus on something small. The iPhone often struggles to focus on something small. So just be careful. If ever you hit that button 1, 2, 3, and it kind of sometimes it will like the square will go big and then it will just vanish on you. That means that the iPhone hasn't focused, that it's having a hard time. Take half a step back, try again. Take half a step to the right, try again. But this is really very good, this one. As I say, as are all of them. Let's look at this one. This one's good for Halloween. Feels very Halloweeny. Feels like the upside down world. But love the kind of the moss growing over the thing. This one, I think, again, is it whoever took this, are they here? Feel free to shout out your name if you're on mute. The one thing I'd say with this one is I'm not 100% sure when I look at it where the main focal point is. Where's the subject? I think if I did a straw poll here and I asked all of you, some of you would say my eye's getting stuck here. Some of you saying my eye's going to go here. Some of you, your eye's going to go there. I'd probably distill this down more, reduce the complexity a little bit further, especially this bit that's very out of focus and blurry on the top right. That perhaps doesn't need to be here. Just to create a more, and I can't really recreate this here, I can try, but to create a more definitive, let's tilt this way. See what that looks like. Nah, it's okay, but I feel like it goes too much to the middle. Let's see if I can get this bottom guy. Almost looks like a hand. That's better.
Oh, it looks like it's spilling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that, if I was taking this picture, the change that I would have to do is the original picture was taken, you can all see me, was taken landscape like this. I'm changing to portrait and then I'm tilting my camera. It's amazing how much interest you can get from just going like that, just tilting left or right, especially if you take a picture of something that's static, it makes it feel like there's more movement to it because we create diagonal lines and diagonal lines are really big in photography. Diagonal line. Nice job. Very nice job. Let's look at this one.
Mhm.
You see how a good job you guys, I mean, my job is to find us something constructive to say that you can improve, which I think we can always improve. That phrase, your first 10,000 photographs are your worst. But the general level of what you guys have sent me is excellent for a beginner's group. So I'm really proud of you guys. You're persevering, you're practicing, you're changing your perspective. And the positioning of this bell, look at that. This clear S curve running through it. Again, this picture could have been taken. Do I need to see all the way to the bottom? Kind of like the pelican picture. Same concept. Maybe not. Maybe I just need to see that. Maybe I can even change this way and just focus and put the bell on the right and the wire on the left. Nah, I don't think I like that as much. But or actually, even this could be interesting. And a bit more floating. But now, Cass, what if I was taking this picture and I wanted the cladding or the side of the house or whatever that is behind the bell to be more blurred? What's something I can try doing?
You can try stepping back and then zooming in.
That's it. Perfect. And if I would have done that behind would have looked like the behind of the statue we saw of the Rodin. It just would have been a blur of color. So again, one thing to remember, especially a lot of you enjoy photographing people and pets and animals and flowers, what I would put under a general topic of things. When we photograph things, if we can, I'll just write it up here. We like things to have a clean and non-distracting background. That's to say, what's behind the subject should not be the focus of the picture. It should be just kind of ornamental. It just should kind of blend in. It shouldn't distract or compete with the thing in the foreground, with the dog, the kid, the bell, the plate of food, the lemon, the egg. It doesn't matter. So we're always trying to find it. And a big thing, again, that people get dinged on, no pun on the bell, but people get dinged on, they take a picture and they think they've got it, and then there's like a bright spot of highlight behind them, or there's like a car like right behind like the two people who they're taking a picture of. It's way in the background, but it's distracting. And that kind of comes back down to our technical, like Cass said, we can zoom in, but we can also be patient and just wait for the car to move. And then retake the picture. But watch out for those clean, non-distracting backgrounds in your images. Let's look at this one. I love this one. This one took the theme really literally and was great. Really fun storytelling picture. And again, look, evoked a reaction in all of you, which is great. That's the telltale sign of a strong image. Like you all found this like humorous, like good perspective. I think, again, if I'm being hypercritical, there's probably a little bit too much foreground. I probably would have taken out just some of that paving and that tiling at the bottom. But this is an excellent interpretation of the theme. Whose Wellingtons are these? Whose picture is it?
Mine.
Mine. Isabella, excellent. So Isabella could have even looked straight down the Wellingtons. Got the pattern and the line, kind of like those spirally. I can just see all the stripes inside. And if she wanted to, she could have literally stick her phone in the opening of the thing and take a picture. That would create that spiral effect, but with these lines. But very well done, Isabella, for these. I'm guessing these are ornamental. These look too small even for my 2-year-old.
Yes.
And what Isabella's done well here is played with that word scale that we talked about. When we have different things that are different sizes, it helps to contextualize things, it helps to tell a story, and it helps make our picture more interesting. Watch out, Isabella, as well. Just again, a very small point, but something that I'd probably think about is, can you see at the top here how the line, like the grouting is, or is running through that. I probably wouldn't, and again, I can't recreate this. When you took the picture, if you'd taken like maybe half a step, a quarter of a step forward, the crop would have been like this. It would have been a little bit cleaner than being the
Right.
line up there. Hopefully that makes sense.
Hmm.
Great, but really good. I'm just going to pause for a second because I realize I haven't paused for a while. Has anyone got any questions on anything I'm covering so far? Going too fast, too slow? Good. Give me a thumbs up if it's good pace for everyone.
Yeah.
Good. Excellent. Good, good, good. So I will carry on. So let's look at this one. Really, I mean, first of all, what type of leading line is abundantly clear here? Let's ask Marietta. What type of leading line is taking me to the end of the Rockefeller Center, to the yellow sign?
Perspective.
Yeah, let's, okay, don't help Marietta. Let's let. So what's this called?
Would you, I don't,
I'll give you a clue. I'll give you a clue. It's a
right,
triangle. Close. If I turn the triangle upside down, it makes a V. Anyone wanna-
vantage.
Very good.
Vanishing point.
So it's a vanishing point. So this is a clear vanishing point, taking us to the where the Christmas tree is going to be at the end of the Rockefeller Center. I probably don't need to see as much of the Rockefeller Center here. I would crop this down.
Thank you.
Take out some of the, in fact, you've got two vanishing points going on in this picture. You've got the vanishing points created by the buildings, and you've got the vanishing point created by the row of plants. And you've also kind of got a symmetry here in terms of the statue, everything taking you up here. Now, a couple of things that are, you're in New York, it's incredibly busy. I probably, though, would have waited for that man to move. He doesn't need to be there. There's a man at the end of my vanishing point. And I don't want the man to be the focus. I want the like, where is he? There's the man on his phone at the end of the. Yeah. And I would have just been patient and maybe waited 5 seconds for him to move. The other thing is, I like who took this picture? Are you here today?
Iris, yeah.
Iris,
Me.
excellent. So really good catch, Iris. I like what you've done here by giving us the context with the sign that it's the Rockefeller Center, but you've also got it on the sign up here. So I don't know necessarily if we need both. I would be interested to play around with this picture and do one where we essentially take out the banner and we make it all about the sign and the back. Imagine the man wasn't back there. I make it about the sign and this. I'd be interested to do another one where I took the sign out completely and I went like that. Everyone hopefully can see the strong vanishing point there. This is there's a lot of write down another good ingredient that goes into creating good photos. We'll get to it. It's called symmetry and balance. And again, I could teach a whole workshop just on that, but this photo symmetry, you all know what symmetry means, is when something is kind of looks the same on the left, the same on the right, or the same on the top and the same on the bottom. But symmetrical photos we tend to find pleasing because they have something called balanced composition. It kind of feels like everything goes with each other in this picture. And you find this when you walk around any city in the US, when you walk around any park, when you walk around, not even in the US, anywhere, you're going to see vanishing points, S-curves everywhere. Your job is just to kind of frame them in such a way that they work. Remember, a leading line is a compositional device that takes the viewer's attention to the main subject. So here the vanishing point is taking our eye up to here. Hopefully you can all see that. So nice job, Iris. Very good. Shame the tree wasn't that funny. I've never seen it with the scaffolding like that. I only ever see pictures of the tree. But I suppose it makes sense that they need a scaffold to pick it up because it's so big.
Adam, can I ask a question, please?
Of course.
So if that man's going to stand there and Iris needs to move on, but it's a great photo, can she Photoshop him out?
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely. You can actually do it on an iPhone now on some of
Okay.
There's tons of ways that we can remove stuff, but
Okay.
it's a good question. And I would say to that point, editing in general should be creative, not corrective. That's to say that you shouldn't be using editing to cover up for something that you probably could have fixed when you were there. But if Iris was in a rush, then absolutely, and she had to get to the restaurant down the street for dinner, and she couldn't stand there for 4 minutes and wait for the person to move, even though I would argue if you probably waited 20 seconds, they'd probably move. Then yes, you can take, I mean, to answer your question, Julie, I could take out all these people if I wanted to.
Okay.
It gets a bit more advanced, but the nice thing actually is accessible. And I'm hoping Cass and I were speaking, we may carry on these classes, and there's some like editing is one thing that I'd love to just spend like one class showing you all the different tricks that you can do
Oh, that would be awesome.
when it comes to editing. So that's one of many things that kind of we build on. But remember, very first lesson I said, creating a good photo is like building a Lego block of towers. In fact, funny because the Lego store's right here. But building a set of Lego into towers. We can't get all the way to the top right at the beginning. We have to do it one step at a time. So I'm kind of pacing us, I think, on a good pace where we're learning things, creating things, but editing is something that we can definitely get to. Look at this picture. This is lovely. I wish on this picture, and I can't recreate it because I don't have enough room, but I wish that there was a little bit more space on the right of that flag. Even that is better. Even just coming down. Again, like Isabella, cut on the grout line. I wouldn't want to cut on that line at the top there. It's very similar. I want to come into the rock because otherwise it's going to be distracting. But look how much better that looks.
Yes.
This is great. Whose is this one? Really
Karen.
nice job, Karen. Excellent. Really nice use of the wispy like grasses at the bottom to frame the subject, and then positioning of the flower kind of in that top right nodal point. This would be a great one to submit for texture if anyone ever asks you for texture, because you have these very distinct different textures going on, creating a very nice balance to the image. Could have maybe got the flowers a tiny bit more in focus, maybe the tap and hold. It looks to me slightly that the grasses are a little bit sharper than the flower. But very nice job. Look at this one. Great light in this one. Look at the bokeh in this one. That amount of blur. The iPhone's amazing at doing this. If anything, it's blurred the front. There's a lot to look at here. A lot of light, a lot of brightness. A lot of clean bokeh behind it. Feel free. Who took this one?
I did.
Just shout out your name because people know.
Ruth.
Or two of you
We
shout.
took the same thing then.
Hold on. Hold on.
That's yours.
Whose is it?
I think it's one of the ones I took is Ruth, but I took a bunch of them, so.
Perfect. In fact, actually, Ruth, I'll pull them up together. So those are them. I think. I think those are both yours. So yeah, I actually prefer the one on the right than the one on the left. I think the one on the right has more of a flow and balance to it to take you up to the top level, whereas the one on the left feels quite busy.
I'll put it on mute.
There's a lot going on. But both good captures, both creating blur, both with the light behind you. Really well done. Nice job. What even are these, Ruth?
A weed.
A weed. Okay, so there we go. We can even make a weed look photogenic. That's when we know we're trending in the right direction. So nice job. Let me look at this one.
Ooh.
Very pretty. Love the kind of the starkness of the color. Excellent job on the focus. Again, look at where you're all positioning. Main subject. You're really getting the hang of this rule of thirds, which is great. So much more than we did last time. Again, I like that you haven't shown me the bottom of the stem. Kind of could go like the pelican on this picture if I wanted to. I mean, there's tons of ways that I could frame this and create it. I'm just going to run out of room here. But I could go just in on that. Imagine I didn't have the thing on the bottom right. I could elongate it and put it off and not go so much a crop and go more like that. Although I would argue maybe that line on the right is taking us out the picture a little bit too much now. But I like the crop that you did. I think it's excellent. Really good. Really,
Mm.
really good. The key with this one, what makes this one look so like strong is the lighting.
Mhm.
Where the light is coming from in relation to the photographer. That's what makes this pack a big punch.
Mhm.
And you all kind of went, oh, when I pulled this one up, which is excellent. Whose is this? Not here, maybe on the recording. Um, but nice job. Really nice job. Let's look at this one. I haven't even talked about framing yet, but this is a great one for frame. But look at the symmetry here.
Mhm.
It's almost like we put a mirror.
Love it.
Repetitive pattern and line is one of those things in photography that we look for again and again. Well done for putting your square on the gate.
Mm.
By doing that, this almost looks like it's France or somewhere, where the background has gone more blurry. There's separation between the gate and the background, so that's made that quite easy. And not showing me the entire thing, the whole gate, again makes this like I spotted some bunny ears down here. Look, it's like a bunny rabbit. Um, but the but really, really very good. Look at this one. Don't worry about when it says file can't be found. That's just my computer being funny. Um, this one's lovely. It almost well, the color and the lighting and this again very similar. This one in terms of the makeup as this one. The colors look so, but look how bold the colors look in both of those pictures. Remember, I told you photography comes from the word painting with light, drawing with light. Both of these photos are excellent examples of drawing with light in a successful way. They really like there's strong contrast, there's strong clarity, there's strong vibrancy, there's tons of words I can use. And it's all just, if you went and photographed this 6 hours later on either of these pictures, it wouldn't look the same
Mm.
because the sun would be in the wrong place. So whoever took either of these two, really well done on picking up on that drawing with light concept and using light to our advantage. Nice job. Look at this cute guy. So much like I'll pull this up by the original dog photo. Okay. So here's two dogs. Okay. Now, I do think whoever took the one on the right, we could have worked a little bit more on the tap and hold to focus to get the dog a little bit sharper. And we also maybe don't remember, we don't want the eyes right through the middle if possible. This one I would have off, and again, I don't need to crop it as close as the other dog, but I probably would have just taken a little bit more off the top of the dog's head. I don't even mind seeing the ocean back there, but just even that, when compositionally is an improvement
Mhm.
on the dog being right, because here we kind of see the dog's eyes, but we see the rock, we see the ocean, we see the nose, and a lot of that is because that dog's eye, look, is almost smack bang, or in fact it is, it's smack bang in the middle of the frame. Where my two lines intersect there, that's the center of the frame. So watch out for that. But well done for getting down low as well to the dog's perspective. Oops. Um, this one kind of looks like the Chihuly one that I just showed earlier. This is great. This one's excellent. Low perspective, leading up through the frame, right on the nodal point. Look at here we've got bokeh at the front and bokeh at the back. That's because they were very close to the subject. But it works here. Our eye kind of leads. Again, this picture, in terms of like the bones of it, is very similar to this picture.
Mm.
They're two totally separate things. But the concept of being able to see the flow and the line and the shape and the pattern is essentially the same, even though they're two totally separate subjects. And this is what I kind of allude to when I always talk about a way of seeing. So this one.
Mm. Beautiful.
Yeah. Jellyfish are really fun to photograph.
Mm.
Somewhere here, someone I think went to the Monterey Aquarium, or somewhere similar. but very strong. Again, lighting strong. In this case, there's no focal point, but I don't think that matters because I feel like in an abstraction image like this, I think it probably ends up at the brightest jellyfish at this one here. Um, they're kind of creating a curve running through the image. I like the bubbles. The bubbles kind of help add dimension.
Mhm.
But you can see your eye tends to go to the brightest part, the highlight. Good job on that one. Let's look at this one. Again, this is a good one. This one, whoever did it, you just missed the focus. I would take it again. But the perspective, the way that you've approached photographing this flower is perfect. It's exactly what I want you to do.
Mhm.
You can see though, ideally we generally want, and this again comes back to this tap and hold to focus. You want the focus sitting here in the middle of the frame. Watch out for the edges of the frame as well. And crop those out. Don't want the distracting elements. Look at this guy. Great.
That's great.
So look at the level. It's amazing how good the iPhone has got at picking up details. Again, I don't think we need some of the bottom here. I would probably crop just some of this bit out. Just doesn't need to be there. But look at the level of detailing on the nose. Like it's amazing. So,
Maybe too much.
yeah, sorry. Yeah, Joe, yeah, for those of you who don't like cow's nostrils, this is not a good photo. Who did this?
Judy, I love it.
Who is it? Judy.
Yeah, she
Um,
was posing for me.
She was yeah, perfect. Watch out for just that yellow handle back there.
Right.
That's comes back to that clean, non-distract. If you would have moved it like 4 inches to your right, this disappears. Um, that comes back to that whole clean, non-distracting background. But no, this is excellent. Shallow depth of field or big depth of field, Nina?
Shallow.
Good. Cass, you had a question?
I just, I know we're getting towards the end of the time and I had a couple questions and I wanted to, see if we could just utilize this for a couple minutes with some, I have questions, but also about the
Okay, sounds
possibility.
good.
in
So
your
let's
class.
so hold
Is
on.
everybody okay with that? Raise your hand if you're okay with that. Is everybody okay with moving on a little bit?
I'm gonna throw those up just so everyone can see them, so people don't know that
Beautiful.
they're pictures. So these are the ones that we haven't had time to review today, but I'm gonna mark them. So if I have time, I'm gonna come back to them. But all, as I say, as a general class, here's all your pictures. Look how successfully you filled the frame, you changed the perspective. You also all sent me pictures of totally different things, which is great. What I want you to do. So very, very well done. Lots of learning lessons to come out of that and lots more to come. Cass, over to you.
Okay, well, first of all, we have the Focus magazine that GCA has, and there were some articles in the fall issue. I don't know if, raise your hand if you've looked at the fall issue of Focus. Okay. Anyway, there was a discussion at one of the gals, Yanni, who does some iPhone things. She talked about
Yeah, she's in a window. I know her.
long exposure, but she didn't really show how to go to it on your phone. And I was wondering if you could just turn around your phone and show everyone how to go to that long exposure. It's just you can click it and then take a picture of water.
Unfortunately, it's not a setting you just turn on or off. And I don't think I can explain, as in it's not, it's kind of, but it's not, you don't just go long exposure and turn it on. It's what she showed you, and I'm not speaking for
Yeah.
you, but I imagine what she showed you was you take a picture in something called live view,
Yes.
and then you look at the live view picture, and then you change it to long exposure.
Okay.
Just in
So
the interest of time
she's changing it where?
afterwards.
After.
When we're looking at
Okay.
pictures. But that Holden's cast, that ties in really nicely to when a couple of people asked about how do we capture pictures of the waves.
Right.
That always under like the same umbrella of things that I can't teach you in 4 minutes because I wouldn't be doing it justice. But yeah, that was, she took it a lot, what's called a live photo, which means the iPhone takes a series of pictures and then you look at them afterwards and the iPhone blends them together to recreate a long exposure. It's not actually creating a long exposure. It's just using like the computer to recreate it. But there's lots of things that we can do with the iPhone to take more control than you guys are currently controlling. if I throw including this thing called shutter speed, but if I throw all those things to you at the beginning, you end up just taking pictures that are all over the place. So yeah, shutter speed is one thing, Cass, that I think this group would benefit from, as well as editing. I think they'd benefit from a class on editing to other people's points. Over
Well,
to you.
first of all, I'd like to say that the Carmel by the Sea Garden Club have a bunch of sandbaggers as far as photography goes, because I think they're incredibly talented. And I'm just thrilled to death, Adam, that we've had this class and that everyone's participating. And it's just been very exciting because I think we'll have far more participants now in the garden club shows and
Good.
exhibits. So it'll be great. But could I see Adam has mentioned, Adam, you and I spoke offline a little bit, and you had said that if people wanted to continue with the class, that we would continue with another three class section, the same pricing. And what were those dates, Adam, that you said?
I came up with some, first of all, I think that a group like this would really benefit from another three classes. I think I could really significantly push you guys on. Um, I'd like to try to do that, like not leave it like 3 months and then pick up again, because then we end up covering a lot of stuff that we've covered. I want to try and keep the momentum going. So I suggested to Cass, I was looking, obviously we're running into the Thanksgiving break and stuff, but I was looking at my schedule. I'm just going to check. And I suggested possibly 7th of November, 17th of November, then we have Thanksgiving, and then the 8th of December. Two of those are a Monday, trying to keep everything simple. Monday at 9 o'clock. All of those same times as we've been doing. I'm trying to keep it from that 9 to 11 slot. Um, Again, those don't have to be fixed in stone. I can have a look around my calendar, but those are my initial. I think more kind of to Cass's and my, but can we maybe just have a show of hands of people who potentially would like to continue with the classes?
Oh,
Okay,
this
great.
is very exciting. Okay.
That's everyone pretty much. So, which is
That was
exciting.
simple.
Yeah.
Do you think there's another class that we could maybe look at, Adam, versus a Friday,
Yeah,
just
yeah, yeah.
have
Let me let,
everybody,
let, let me look in my
Mondays
calendar.
from 9 to 11 seem to work better for
Yeah,
people.
those Mondays are just at that following month. Even, well, everyone can tell me, would it be an issue if we did a class the Monday, the week? I was just thinking people may be away. The Monday, the week of Thanksgiving, which would be the 24th, 11/24.
Yeah.
That doesn't
Okay.
pose an issue. So I would be happy to sub that Friday out
Yes.
and do 11/24 instead. So we'd have, let me just check.
The 7th, the 17th, and the 24th,
That
right?
works.
Or the,
That's
I'm
not.
sorry, the 10th, it would be the 10th, the 17th, and the 24th, correct? Are you available the 10th?
Hold on.
You saying the 7th.
No, no.
7th.
Hold on. Let me
The
check.
7th. 7th is a Friday, though.
Yeah, so the 10th I can't do.
Okay.
Hold on. I could do, so what did I give you? I gave you the 17th. Okay, so
Uh-huh.
we could do, yeah, I want to keep the momentum going. Would anyone be object to potentially do one of them on a Tuesday instead of a Monday?
I can't.
Someone say it's difficult.
Yeah, I think
It's
that.
tricky.
Okay, so how about we do this? We could do the 17th.
Mhm,
So I'm going to give you guys a month off to
mhm.
practice. We could do that, and that also gives us time to like get the like admin stuff in place. The 17th, the 24th, and the 8th. I'll give you 2 weeks of space, one out. So that's basically over a month period.
Perfect.
How's that for everyone? So that's
Mhm.
11, 17, 11, 24, and 12, 8. That's all Mondays, all the same time, 9 till 11.
So what we will do, ladies, again, is to confirm your participation. If you could Zelle or Venmo me right away, we can just get the list. I'm taking a screenshot of everybody here that kind of said yes. Um, and then we'll go from there.
Perfect.
Okay.
And obviously, there's lots of people on the recording as well. And exactly the same, everyone. Just I hope you've had no problem access to the recordings, but I record all the lessons. So if for some reason you have to dash out or you can't make one of the sessions, please don't let that deter you, because you can go back and watch at your own leisure, and make notes and everything.
And then Adam, would I be able to send you a list of the vocabulary for the first 3 classes that you just check that my definition was written correctly so that I can
Absolutely,
get
of
it to
course.
everyone? We're going to
Absolutely.
have a
Yeah.
test probably
Yeah.
later in the
Yeah, that would be great. Yeah,
classes.
please. Please do. And I'd love if anyone can send me, I don't have access to the Focus magazine because I'm not in GCA. If anyone can screenshot it or fancy just like that's very useful. So if you see something and you're interested in it, like Cass was interested in an article there, send it to me because I know
It was confusing the way I thought it was very confusing the way it was presented. I read it over again, but I'd be happy to take
but then
that.
I can clarify. But then I can clarify. It's just nice
clarity.
that I can see how it's been presented and I can make sure that everyone's clear on it.
And then also, Adam, I was on the plane and I consolidated some flower shows that have got a novice class, and I took some scheduled pictures that I was going to, give out, send to everybody,
Yeah,
so
well,
that we could, people could focus on something that they're
absolutely.
interested
Well,
in.
I was just about to give everyone a theme before I'm
Okay.
last. So one thing I'm going to get you to do is I'm going to get everyone to do the egg challenge. So
Mhm.
that's homework number one.
Okay. 10 photos.
Yeah. You don't have to send me all 10, but I want you to really intend. I want you to take your time, spend 10, 15 minutes. You can spend half an hour on it. Really think about it, like slow down. Um, and then the second one I'm going to give you, I'm actually going to give you two because I'm going to let you play around. So you can have three homeworks. So one's going to be texture, and you can pick and choose what you send me. I just want to give you some ideas. And then the third one, just because of the time of year, I'm going to give you full.
Fall.
Full. Yeah, sorry, I say it in my English accent. No one can understand me when I say it.
And they have actually within the photography group for Iris and and people can see, but they do have a little readout on fall. So maybe I can send that to.
Yeah, and again, I like keeping my themes intentionally vague. I purposely don't say go and photograph a leaf on a tree or go and photograph a pumpkin. Like I want you guys to interpret it as you wish.
What the heck is wrong?
That's part of the fun. Anyone else got any
Would
questions?
you repeat the challenge again? I didn't understand.
Yes.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course. So the challenge is you're going to get an egg,
Yeah, okay.
which is probably the most boring thing I can think of to photograph. That's the point. As in, it's just a very mundane subject. And the aim of the exercise, you're going to put the egg somewhere in your kitchen or your dining room or your table, wherever you're going to put it. And then I want you to think about creating 10 different photos of the egg. And the key to creating different photos, and as I said, the egg is analogous. It could be a human face, it could be a flower, it could be a house. It's really anything. But I want you to think about three main things: lighting. How does composition? Where am I putting the egg in the picture? And perspective. How is me moving around it affect? And to be honest, perspective ties into composition and lighting. It affects those two. Okay. And just take your time with it. Don't just take a picture of an egg, point and shoot it, and then send it to me. Okay. Kate, you got a question?
So how many of the egg photos would you like us to send you?
One or two.
Okay, thank you.
I mean, you feel free to send me more if you want. I'm not going to spend a whole lesson showing like 60 pictures of an eggs because you guys are but you can, if you want feedback, I'm always happy to provide email feedback if you want to send me a picture, even if it doesn't get shown. I'm happy to do that. Okay. Karen has a question.
You were mentioning fall. Are we still doing something, photographs of fall coloring, that type of thing?
Absolutely. Yeah. I don't want to pigeonhole ourselves too much. So I'm giving you essentially three homeworks in which you can work around. One is the egg challenge, one is texture, which really ties into fall, and one is fall itself.
Would it be easiest, Adam, if when they email you that they just put in the email egg,
Yeah,
fall?
I mean, I think I'll figure it. It does. I'm going to collate them. I'm going to collate them. I'm going to collate them.
Or should we put Carmel by the Sea, just our acronym for?
Yeah, that is useful for me, Cass, because I teach so many different students that sometimes I have to go back and cross-reference my list to make sure everyone's thing. So yeah, in your subject line when you email me, yeah, put your name and put just like CG. Is it CG CGS?
It's CBTSCG, Carmel by the Sea Garden Club. And then we'll just say it's class 4, ladies.
Yes.
So that
Yeah,
we
yeah, I'll
can-
remember that, right? So you can just you
Class.
don't even, you can just write Carmel if you want, like anything to remind me. But yeah, the acronym works fine.
I'll
But,
summarize all this on email to everybody. So
yeah, and Cass, just
everything's-
CC me on that email, just so then
Okay.
and then I can chime in if I, and I'll also, obviously, everyone, you'll get the recording later on today, so you can review. But really good seeing everyone. Excited to carry on with you all as a group. I hope you've, most importantly, enjoyed these 3 classes. This is
Yeah.
meant
That was great.
to be fun.
Really great.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank you.
And
Thank you
thanks-
very
thanks-
much, Adam.
thanks-
Thank
Very
you.
enjoyable.
Thank you very much.
Thanks,
Incredible.
Cass, for helping pull everything together as well. So I'll see you all in a couple of weeks.
Wonderful.
Goodbye.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Say bye.